I'm live just to talk about the upcoming Seville Web event on Wednesday, May 13th. What we're going to do is I'm going to go through a few models and discuss what I'm seeing those some weaknesses in the forecast. And then what we'll do is I'll finish by going through the storm predictions and outlook and just explaining what they're seeing and then later on tonight, I'll probably post a Facebook, Twitter post about what we can expect for tomorrow. So yeah, I have my chat open, so if you have any questions, pop in there, and I'll answer them. So let's go ahead and get started. I am using the Maps from Pivotal Level. So we'll go through and get started. Alright. So this first map you're seeing here is a bulk seal between the surface and 500 millibars. And really what this does is it will tell us how conducive the atmosphere is to move storms, seal storms, so they don't rain themselves out. And generally what we will want in these values is above 30 knots, 30 to 50 knots is generally the better zone. And really, we haven't seen 30 knots in the Mars yet, which is a cause for concern in terms of storm longevity and potentially them getting up to speed and being able to develop tornadoes and hail and wind. So that is a limiting factor right now. In this one, it's the 18Z or the 12Z GFS for Wednesday at about noon. Severe time will be later in the evening, talking about 5 to 6 to 7, starting in western Oklahoma. But this gives an idea of what the atmosphere looks like. So we have weak shield, which is, again, something we'll have to watch out closely for storms to not rain themselves out, and propagation speed. So we'll move on to what the 12Z NAM is saying. It's in large agreement right now. Weak seal, less than 30 knots. So again, same issues. This is a 12Z European model. And again, we're seeing less than 30 knots in most places. So again, all the models are in good agreement that we aren't going to see strong seal. So that's a cause for concern. Although I will say the 0Z high-res rapid refresh model just came out, and the shield is looking to be right around 30 knots in western Oklahoma, around the time convection starts to move in. So that's a positive that we could be seeing now. Just have to monitor it and keep an eye on it. If this trend pops up in other models just take longer to provide data because of when they start. So I'll be looking through that as they become available. Next, we're going to look at this subspace cape and your seal profiles. So what we're seeing here is the NAM 12Z model, again, for about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. What we're seeing is plenty of cape, 3,000 plus jaws, plenty enough to get the job done with large hail, damaging winds, and sustained storms long enough. With intense updrafts. And you'll notice the shield profile is varying with height. So we go from red to blue to black, and that's going clockwise with height. So we're having warm air into the storm, which will continue to enhance storm development and not cut anything off. This is the 12Z GFS. It's 3 hours earlier, so this cape hasn't quite made it in. But it is still a cause for concern because the cape values are a little less than what you would like to see even before the storm. Wind profiles aren't great, but they aren't horrible. You still have that slight veering with height. So really, if a storm can get going and attach it to its roots, you'll probably see a fair amount of spin in them with moderate hail. if this solution was to plan out. But again, not in good agreement with GFS and NAM. One of those variables we'll have to see as we get closer to the event itself. And now we're going to talk about the storm velocity. So basically, the atmosphere's ability to spin, and if we'll see any tornadoes or not. This is the 12Z NAM for about noon on Wednesday. As you can see, values are not that high, which is a cause for concern if we're talking about tornadoes. So we don't know. It doesn't look like there'll be a lot of rotation with these if this model was to play out. But again, we are looking more 6 hours after this, where shear will likely be a little bit more enhanced as we'll start to get loss of sunlight, which will help enhance the shear a little bit. I kind of have to wait to see how this plays itself out and how much enhanced it's going to be. If we look at the 12Z GFS, really the SR8 is about the same, not much has changed, but we are seeing a little bit more spread in southern Oklahoma, which is where the highest chance of storms will be in southern and western Oklahoma. Have okay SRH values. So if it's just right, the storm modifies the environment. It can very well spin up, and we'll have to be on the lookout for tornadoes if something like the GFS plays out, and we're seeing that possibility come into play. But really, yeah. So that's all the model graphics I have pulled up. Really, not outstanding features by any stretch of the imagination, but there's enough to warrant a cause of concern, and go through some questions we may have. It's really up in the air. I do expect the trend to be slightly upward on these storms as we get closer to the event, but really right now it's very risky to make any large assumptions about this. We're not seeing widespread long track tornadoes with this setup. We'll be looking more at short-term effects, so more localized events and not widespread events with these. We do expect, yeah. So what I'll do now is I'll pull up the Storm Prediction Center's Outlook, and we'll just go through this and read it and make some comments on this. So there is a slight risk of severe thunderstorms across the central and southern plains. Severe thunderstorms are expected across portions of central and southern plains Wednesday. Cold and dry continental air mass is forecast to still be in place from the northern high plains eastward and southeastward through the east coast early Wednesday morning. Strong air mass modification that began on Tuesday will continue with low-level moisture surging northward into the central plains, so we'll have moisture coming up from the Gulf that will allow us to have plenty of moisture for storms to work with. The strongest northward moisture advection will occur across central and eastern portions of the southern and central plains. Moisture advection across the southern and central high plains will be limited by deep mixing and a surging dry line, while a persistent frontal wedge prevents much moisture advection across western Kansas until late. So basically, we're going to have a cold front near northern Oklahoma that will prevent moisture from going much further north, and we'll also have a dry line moving into western Oklahoma that will prevent moisture from going further westward. So really, we're talking about that western Texas and western Oklahoma, northwest Texas, and into Kansas as well as the areas where storms will occur. So as a result, the expectation is for the surge pattern on Wednesday afternoon to feature a low over southeast Colorado with a dry line arcing southeastward into northwest Oklahoma and then back southwestward through the Texas Panhandle Basin. Conditions east of the dry line are expected to be characterized by temperatures in the 80s, dew points in the mid 60s, so temperatures where you like to see them. For convection, dew points are very moist, so these storms will have a lot of moisture to work with. We'll have very steep mid-level lapse rates and vertical veering low-level wind profiles. So basically we'll have winds at the surface and enough energy for the storms to blow up fairly quickly. Convective initiation is anticipated along the dry line, with these storms quickly developing into supercells capable of all severe hazards, including very large hail and tornadoes. Given the strong mixing layer and capping and lack of stronger forcing for ascent, widely scattered coverage is currently anticipated, which precludes or prevents higher than 50% severe weather probabilities with this forecast. So basically what they're saying here is there's not enough forcing to occur to have a linear type of system, and these storms will stay more discrete than we normally see or have seen so far this year. Storms will be widely scattered. You'll only have a few supercells, and predicting right where they will pop up is a bit of a challenge, so they're not going high on their percentages at this time. And then in Kansas we'll have elevated thunderstorms. So really, that's all that's going to pertain to Oklahoma. We are seeing that supercells come into play. Enough shear and moisture to do some amount of work. Enough cape to sustain the storms. We're not talking about an amazing setup type of day, but you don't need an amazing setup type of day. You only need enough to get a job done to see a tornado, large hail, and damaging winds, and really not expecting a huge flooding threat with these, but if you do get a supercell move over you, you'll probably see enhanced risk of seeing flooding. Predicting where these supercells will pop up is going to be a bit of a challenge, so I'll probably go with low risks in my forecast that I'll provide later on. So yeah, be on the lookout for my Facebook page, Twitter posts. I'll provide blast out that way, and really we'll start to get a better handle of what we can expect as time moves on. So I do expect a new forecast for tomorrow, but really tonight's forecast will be, hey, we have these threats available, and just be on the lookout for that. I'm not going to make any huge assumptions on what will happen. There's still a fair amount of spread in the models, and just have to see how storms shake out as we get closer to the event. So what I'll do is I'm going to hop off of here. Just wanted to give y'all a little bit of an update on what could happen and what I'm seeing from a meteorology perspective. Of course, this will change as we get more data in. I may do another video as we get closer, but just wanted to give y'all that update. So thank you for listening. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns. I'll try to respond as quickly as possible.